was they actually the actress who's a prominent Greek actress and is a professional and did an incredible performance. But they actually did that, like, I think it took about half an hour, but that whole thing was shot as sort of a theater piece that they were kind of shooting continuously. They did it like 3 times. So what you see is sort of a chopped up version of what is otherwise a continuous theater piece, which would have been amazing to see. So there you go. I love it. Good to see you. I'll be appearing here nightly. But then I'd love to hear, like, certainly, I mean, the Garbage Man has been another wonderful thing, and we're really happy to have you back at the festival after we had you here in 2017 with another film you co-directed, Drop by Drop. But I'd love to hear just how this film began, because it's obviously very rich and very much rooted in your family's history.
Yes, so this is an animation documentary. It's actually based on my family. They talked to me about my uncle, but all of the setup, the table, sharing stories, this is actually something that happens every time that we're together. We always bring back memories of my uncle, so that's one thing that I really wanted to portray on the film. And then, of course, I am one of the youngest of my family, and there's a lot of backstory that I wanted to know about. So I started also interviewing my family about what happened with immigration to France, with the war. It's still very taboo in Portugal to talk about the war. There's not now they're starting to have more archive about that, but we all know someone in Portugal that was in the war. So I wanted, my uncle kind of serves as also a pioneer to tell the story of the thousands of people that were in the same situation, and also my family are talking about they are representing thousands of people that were also in that same position. So yeah, this was mostly what made me want to make the film.
What is amazing to think about the sort of political, social and political kind of context of what you're dealing with in the film, because it really isn't, I mean, the film is so full of sort of love and warmth and joy, and but you realize so much that there's parts of this family history which have been kind of even obscured to a lot of the family. It's just stuff that was not spoken about.
Yes, so one of the things that I really wanted to keep in the film was this happiness about being all together. We're talking about stories of this person that has already died, but we are sharing, like they're laughing about the story, so there's this warmth of the family being all together and not being at war, which is something, you know, like we're living. I think one of the things that is interesting is that I wanted to also talk about the war and all of the background. It's not just the garbage man when he's in France. There's also this background, because it makes you a person that cares a lot about living every day in a fullest when you're going through dictatorship, through poverty, through a war that you can die at any time. So this thing of the garbage, when he was working as a garbage man in France, and bringing things back to a country that there's nothing, and also playing a lot with the people, caring a lot about the people, always having parties. He was a very exuberant person. It's like living to the fullest every day, and that's why he kept in our memories even after 10 years that he died. So it was something that it's something that I really wanted to have in the film. There's an important context, the political part, like the history of the country, but that is also representative of so many people, but also the specialness about him. Actually, I went to see a theater. Now there's, bringing back the conversation about the archive, now there's a lot of people talking about their fathers, their uncles that were in the war, and I went to see a theatrical piece about this daughter. She's talking about his dad, and mostly about his how is his personality after being in the war, and how it influences his personality. And her work has to do with also doing archive, like interviews with people that were in war, and because the stories that they tell are always like very nice. They never talk about the dark side. So she does the piece and then she talks with people. And one thing that I thought was interesting is like how the war influences you when you are coming back and how you live your life. And there was a lot of people that it does this thing of living the day the fullest is something that really sticks to you. You give a different meaning to life after that.
Thinking about the fragility of things. So I mean, I have a very bright light in my eye. If anyone has questions for Laura about the garbage, feel free. Oh, there's a question. Sure, go ahead.
What inspired you to choose this particular style of animation? And can you just talk about how long the drawing and everything else took and how big the team was?
Yeah, so thank you for the question. It's 2D animation, so it's made in pencil and it's inspired in a pastel and pencil, but it's actually made digitally. But it's frame by frame, every drawing, and I wanted to play a lot with the memories of. It's kind of a journey of memories and going back and forth from the present and the table and the memories, and they kind of all combine a bit. And I wanted to have the colors of a lot more colors in the past and the present being more monochromatic. Um, and about the time that this took to do, it was the production of the film took 3 years, but we had the COVID in the meanwhile. It would be generally more faster, but everyone was working in their house, and it is a lot quicker if you're all together. You don't spend so much time writing emails or, and then we kind of just joke around a little bit if you're on a Zoom call and you kind of like make jokes just so you can light up a bit. It's not just talking about work, and you know, like you want to talk about life as well. So it gets very philosophical. So it took 3 years. Um, and yes, did I answer all of the questions?
How many animators?
Oh, and how many animators? Yeah. So I was one of the animators, and then there is two more people that animated shots, and then we had people that helped. I had like one animator that helped to add some extra stuff that I wanted to have in the film, like after the painting is started. So yeah, it was 3 animators plus additional animator.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too?
Yeah,
Sorry, come back to you in a second. Thanks.
I just have a question about the audio. It's kind of a two-part question for the stories that are being told. How did you go about it? Did you actually have people sitting around a table to like replicate the feeling of acting the stories together, or did you know? I wanted to know that process. Additionally, with the music,
Oh, just to repeat that, people couldn't hear, to have Laura talk about the kind of capturing these interviews, if this was at a table, and just the whole process of sort of capturing all these voices and sounds really from a film.
So, thank you. That's a very interesting question, and it's a very big part of the whole process of the film. So, it's actually a lot mixed up. So, I interviewed people separately. I recorded all the sounds you hear in the table. I recorded them actually at the table having dinner or lunch several times, and I also had several people together having conversation. And so before I started making the film, I interviewed everyone, and then I did audio track with the interviews that I thought that were okay. I wanted to have these things here. And then I started missing other things. I went to record, and then they would give me something else, so I would put it in there. Like for example, the part of my aunt talking about the war. the letters. The letters were one of the first ones, so that one was already there. But there was one that I just got my aunt drunk because I wanted to hear more about the war. And I asked her, I was a bit drunk as well, so like, oh, so did you brought anything from the war? Yes, and I was not expecting that. She just said, "Oh no, just a bag full of pineapples," and I'm like, "What?" So I had to put that in the film, so that came afterwards. And yeah, I recorded my mom and my aunt talking to each other. They're sisters, so they had a very nice dynamic. And yeah, so the music came. I after I had the tracking closed, I started doing all of the animation on top, and then after that was closed, I started doing the music. And the musician is actually a guy from Portugal, and he lives in England, but he buys instruments and things on the market, things that don't work, they are not usable. They're kind of relics, how do you say?
Like, so, yeah, just
Yeah,
antiques.
like
Or whatever.
antiques,
Yeah,
yeah.
so, yeah.
And he fixed them, so he plays them. So it was really interesting to have a person like that because he really relates. Also, he's from Portugal, and of course he had. I think his uncle also went to war, so like there was a lot of connections in there. So we started making um, a lot of all of the instruments he did to for the film. He plays everything, so that was something also very interesting. The worst thing about directing the music was that he plays very well, and I wanted him to play really bad because my uncle didn't play anything, so he just kind of took something and he just played really badly, but he couldn't do that, so that was the only thing that I couldn't. I tried to simulate it, but yes, so yeah.
I guess you gotta try getting him drunk too. I'm not sure how
I
it
know.
doesn't work for musicians
It was
sometimes.
in England. It was Zoom.
Yeah. Oh, there's a question up there still? Oh, sure, go ahead.
So I was saying, you had all of these different interviews. What was the process of selecting which interviews to go into the film?
Like, how did you choose which interviews to put in the film and which interviews to cut out?
So when you're doing the interviews, you kind of know already which things are going to fit better into the language of the short film. Because being a short film, you have to really, you cannot have like a whole phrase. You have to have like really things that are very quick and they represent something that you want. There's a lot of stuff that was said that I tried to put there by images because it was too long to say by in a short film because it's already a lot of talk. Imagine if I put more, but so when I already had an idea, and then it's an editing. You just kind of put things there. You kind of know where you're building the script at the same time that you're choosing the interview. But because it's a short, you can see it a lot of times and go back and forth and understand where the things fit. And then if there's not something that you want that it's not there said in those interviews, I went and get more to try and fit it, try to see if it would fit there. But it's very, it's, it was chosen like when I was doing the interview almost the thing, and then the rest it was just the editing. Oh, and the sound design made a really beautiful work with putting everything together, so it seems like creating this sensation that everyone is talking to each other. That was kind of the idea that I wanted, was that to actually create that the real sensation, because that's actually what happens, but it would be very messy to just record all at the table. So the yeah, it feels really natural, like that's actually what happens, so it was cool.
It's amazing how these different pieces came together. Unless someone has a question. Oh, we'll get you the last question. Sure, go ahead. Oh, yeah, that's you. Yeah, go ahead.
Was there a family screening?
Oh, it's a good question too. Was there a family screening? Is the family able to see the film?
Oh,
that
if
the
they
question?
were able to see the film.
Oh yeah, is that the
I
question?
can see that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
cannot see anyone here.
Oh yeah,
but
I can
there
see
can
you.
see.
Laura just sees the light, but I do see you, thanks. But yeah, was that the whole question, just whether she, yeah, be able to show it to the family? Yeah.
I have another one, but
Oh, she will start there, we'll go with that question first.
Okay, so yes, they went to the premiere in Lisbon, and there was a few people. There was the wife of my uncle was there, and one of the daughter, my mom, my dad, other uncles. It was a big trip to Lisbon from the small town, and it was really beautiful. I really loved it. There was my mom cried. So happy. I made my mom cry. And there was also a big lunch in my parents' house, kind of like simulating the whole getting together. So we invited close friends and family, and we put up a white sheet in the wall, and we projected the film there. So it was really nice. Yeah, so that was when most of the people. Oh, and this was in August, so my cousins were also there from France, the sons of my uncle. They came, and yes, it was very special to show it to the family. It's something that has a lot of meaning, and people really can really see themselves represented. So it was really another
That's
question.
great, go ahead.
another part to that question.
Oh, sure.
Is there anyone in the family, like one of your nieces or nephew, a budding filmmaker who one day will make a movie about you?
In my family,
Yeah.
like a filmmaker.
Maybe like you were young.
The younger ones. Actually, I have a cousin from France that is going to start studying cinema.
So you,
And yes, and this one was my uncle is his actual grandfather. So yeah, that would be interesting.
it would be,
Maybe.
No, to make a movie about you.
yeah.
About me, I'm not sure, but definitely about something interesting. Yes, I hope so.
Well, that's great. I think that's all the time we have. But I was also going to say, you're just starting to work on a new movie with Cha, who we've played as well, and we're looking forward to another film from you. So good luck with the next, I guess, probably 3 years.
Yes,
So,
hopefully less.
hopefully less.
Yes, and also based on interviews.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for being here. It's been a delight. So again, and thank you for supporting us.
Thank you.
Is the monkey still alive?
Wait, she's got all her stuff here.
One of them. The monkey's still walking around?
That would be very
All right.